breathe it in, let it go through your nose or your mouth. You get a choice when it comes to breathing, because now there's only 4 days to the Royal Rumble. And don't forget, we all love the Royal Rumble. And when it comes, when it goes, we're like, we got to wait another 12 months before that pay-per-view comes round again, which is doubly worrying, because sometimes WWE puts on a really bad pay-per-view and they have someone crappy win, like in 2011 when they had 40 people and it's Alberto Del Rio. Most people went, I guess that's all right, but it wasn't that exciting. We don't want that. We want it to be amazing. So start ramping everything up into the 9th gear and begin with the go-home episode for SmackDown Live. But my name is Simon Miller, this is WhatCulture Wrestling, and as you have tuned in, you know what we're about to do. We're going to go through the Tuesday night program, and if something was good, it's going to get an up, like Sabu, and if something was bad, it's going to get a down. I can't think of any wrestler that points down. I regret this now. You already know that I've forgotten someone. You're getting mad, and maybe you're getting mad in the comments over here, especially if you're joining me live at 2 p.m. GMT, which we now do for Raw, and we do SmackDown. Enough waffle. Let's up those downs. As is the way now, Becky Lynch kicked off SmackDown, and I'm always going to be alright with that. She continued to build her match with Oscar and made it very clear that there's only one thing that she should do in 2019, and that's headline WrestleMania. And that's cool, Becky and all, but in terms of things that you should be doing, you absolutely should be breathing, otherwise you're gonna die. But isn't it cool? WWE started to plant those seeds for WrestleMania 35 and maybe the first ever women's main event at the Show of Kings. Queens. Oscar interrupted and just started yelling at Becky Lynch in Japanese before maybe she's a face or maybe she's a heel. That would be Charlotte Flair came out and also during her little segment referred to a kendo stick as Ken. She was talking about when she beat up Ronda Rousey using the weapon. Charlotte, never do that again. But her main point was talking about all the potential scenarios in the women's division, and guess who was center of all of them? That's right, it was Charlotte Flair. She's very fond of herself. That distracted Becky, I guess, and of course it did because it's WWE and distractions rule the rage, and we'll get to it. And her and Oscar started to have a big brawl at one point. Becky even took Oscar and threw her over the announce table and started whipping her with her jacket, and Charlotte laughed, going, look what I caused, aren't I great? And I guess Flair is somehow going to get involved in this main event regardless what happens in the Rumble. Maybe she doesn't, I don't know, you tell me. I tell you what though, this build has been alright and I'm intrigued to see what WWE doesn't do with the SmackDown women's title situation. And then we cut backstage and Becky Lynch and Oscar, we're still going at it, you just can't separate them, my word, they hate each other. But how do we find out who's better? It's simple, you tune in to the WWE Network this Sunday. Movie voiceover thing needs work. Then after all the story, all that build, all those scandals and all those shocks, we got Mandy Rose taking on Naomi on a random episode of SmackDown. Even though a pay-per-view is mere days away. Down. Rose won too. I mean, Naomi was kicking her ass for most of it, but at one point, like Mandy bumped into the referee a little bit, and that created an opening for Sonya Deville to get on the apron. She screwed over Naomi, chucked her into the ring post. Mandy Rose wins. Jimmy Uso then arrived to console his wife, and I would imagine that's it. Apart from the fact we do have the Royal Rumble on Sunday, and I imagine there'll be something in the ring with them, and we're probably meant to care, but I won't care. Also, WWE, in your video package before this, you said that Naomi wants to extract revenge. It's exact revenge. Exact revenge. You don't extract revenge, you exact revenge. Good grief. Rey Mysterio then said some words backstage. It's that usual shot where he stares at the camera and he's in a room that makes absolutely no sense, but he's going to go and win the Royal Rumble and teach Andrade some respect when they meet later tonight. But look, Rey Mysterio, he's like an anomaly these days. How is he still so good? He gets it up. Cesaro versus The Miz now, and given what did happen here, I actually think we're going to crown new tag team champions at the Royal Rumble, and what a world that is going to be. But fair play to The Miz, because now I've allowed it to breathe, like Becky Lynch needs to do. Over the last few weeks, he has really thrown himself into this with all the gusto he could. getting it up. The finish came when Cesaro tried to steal one by doing a pin and putting his feet on the ropes. Obviously, Shane McMahon didn't like that. He was by ringside, but Sheamus didn't like that even more, so he just walloped Shane right in the face. And yeah, that was enough of a distraction for Sheamus to then get on the apron, boot the Miz in the face. Cesaro hit the neutralizer. 1, 2, 3. Your tag team champions win the singles match with one of their competitors. Anyone else just getting sick of distractions, going back to what we were talking about earlier? Doesn't happen in the real world, does it? I don't see a puppy over there and go, ooh, a puppy, and just run off. And then I don't come back and look at my ups and downs counters and go, it's been changed. Who changed my ups and down counters? Stupid. Anyway, afterwards the Bar and McMahon were getting into it, and eventually Sheamus and Cesaro, they were on top. So the Miz, and again this ties in to him being like, man, I'm going to play this character as best as I can. He crawled on top of Shane to try and protect him. It was a lovely moment. Didn't work though, because eventually the Miz was on the announce table. Sheamus and Cesaro picked up Shane McMahon and tossed him on top of the Miz, and the table broke. And I tell you, that was a pretty cool spot. But I don't think you're going to lay waste to these two and not have them win gold at the Royal Rumble. So that's a mini random prediction for you. I think Shane McMahon and The Miz, the best tag team in the world, all started because of that stupid tournament, and now going to go on and win even more stuff. Really, we should be mad. But apparently nobody is mad. Mustafa Ali was then in a brilliant video where he was on the streets telling us in no uncertain terms why he's going to beat Samoa Joe and what he sees in Samoa Joe's eyes. Honestly, WWE, you got to do more of this stuff, and it's far better than the backstage staring to a camera, oh, I'm going to beat you, watch out for my fist. This gets an up. You got to love Mustafa Ali as well, because even here, when he had a bit of an edge and a bit of attitude, he is still the quintessential babyface, and I just want to see him win. And it was just a great segment with AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and Vince McMahon of all people, and this can be your weekly. You should really go and watch this if you're not planning to shout out, although that can also be said for Andrade and Rey Mysterio later, but we'll get there. But this up. Firstly, WWE remembered continuity, and that rarely happens because Vince McMahon said, look, I ain't going to get into what I just saw with my son Shane, and that makes sense. From like a real life perspective, there probably wasn't time, but in with the realms of kayfabe, it actually added to the story, because that's why The Miz and Shane McMahon teamed up to begin with. Daddy issues. Vince was out there to adjudicate a head-to-head between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, and even before Bryan had got to the squared circle, he was like, I ain't getting in that ring with AJ Styles, because if I did, it would be an embarrassment. From here, he went on one of his usual tirades that was so well done and so good and so believable, you have to stare at those who said that Daniel Bryan couldn't cut a promo, point in their face and say, what the hell were you talking about? He also told AJ that while he may get cheers from the fans, he doesn't make them think, and AJ retorted with a pretty damn good line and said, well, how did you get to the arena, Daniel Bryan? Did you ride your little bicycle? No, you didn't. You got a plane just like everybody else, which means you are fickle. This is where McMahon got involved, and it was just a little bit strange, because on Raw, he was clearly playing the bad guy, but on SmackDown, he's yelling at Daniel Bryan, who is the heel, saying, just get in the ring. Didn't get it. At that point, though, AJ Styles realized, oh wait, I'm not trapped in a magical force field, and he just got out of the ring and went to attack Daniel Bryan on the outside. You could have done that 5 minutes prior if you wanted to, AJ. He attacked the champ to the point Bryan felt like he needed to hide behind Vince McMahon. That tickled me. It made me laugh, and it also allowed him to get the upper hand. AJ had to stop going for the phenomenal forearm. Daniel Bryan just smashed him in the face with his knee. Excellentness. Again, I don't really know why Vince had to be out there, apart from that point when Daniel Bryan hid behind him, and I got a funny feeling their match at the Royal Rumble may be better than we're already expecting. It's got that special sauce. R-Truth then made me laugh. Damn you, R-Truth. Up. He and Carmella were discussing their number 30 spots, and Truth said if he does manage to win the Rumble, he's not going to take on Brock Lesnar because he doesn't want to go to Sioux Falls City. So dumb, but also brilliant. And when Carmella corrected him that it's Suplex City, R-Truth went, I don't want to go there either. Carmella bumped into Charlotte at the end of this, and Flair let her know in no uncertain terms that even if she is coming in last, the Rumble is still going to be Charlotte's. And that was interesting. What on earth are they going to do there? How is that going to tie in? Samoa Joe then beat Mustafa Ali in a singles match, and it absolutely rocked and allowed you to have more sympathy for Ali, which is the point, getting it up. There wasn't that much nonsense here either. Joe kept relying on his down and dirty offense, whereas Ali countered that by being a high flyer and like zooming around the place like he was a plane. He even had things sewn up at one point, but that dastardly Joe crotched Ali on the top rope when he was going for the 054, locked in the Kikita clutch, and that was it. I may have tapped my microphone then, I apologise, but it added some effects. You probably felt like you were in the Kikita clutch. Make sure you breathe. The highlight of this episode is the theme, breathing. I like this a lot because Joe should have won for all the reasons we talked about before, and it didn't hurt Mustafa one little bit. In fact, I bet come the Rumble, it is Mustafa Ali that chucks out Samoa Joe. All works for me, my friends. All works for me. I sound like that guy from Babe. What did he say? That'll do, pig. That'll do. Babe, film about a pig that nobody's watched in probably about 20 years. Here on Ups and Downs. The commentary team then let us know that during the Royal Rumble pre-show, not only will we get the bout for the Cruiserweight Championship, but we'll also get the one between Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura for the US title. Are you kidding me? They're not even allowed to be on SmackDown, and as I predicted a while back, they're also just being shoved onto the pre-show. It's not just a down, I can smell it. It's a brown down. WWE then teased what Kofi Kingston may potentially do in the Royal Rumble, and that is absolutely the right thing to do. In fact, I don't think WWE has bigged up just how synonymous Kingston is with that match, so I'm glad they did it here. New Day were discussing it, and from nowhere came up with the idea that they promised nobody would ever even think of, and they said if they do win the damn thing, they win it as a team. There was even a cameo from Tommy Jimmel. It was pretty good. Now, I don't actually think you can win the Royal Rumble as part of the team, but what do I know? Lucha House Party rules was a thing for about 3 weeks in 2018, but let's go out on a limb with more predictions. I think one of them is not necessarily going to turn on the other two, but they're going to take the upper hand, and that may start a storyline where the New Day, it doesn't really split. There's some interesting bits there. So maybe Big E's going to do something, but we'll see. You watch out. It was then Andrade versus Rey Mysterio in the main event, and all you need to know about this is that WWE should just come up with Andrade Rey Hour, which you get to see every week on SmackDown. It was ridiculously good, and you know what that means, and it's a first for Ups and Downs, because it's not only an up, but for the second week running, Rey Mysterio, Andrade, used to be Cien Almas, you get a golden up, back to back. I'll keep it easy for you and let you know that Andrade won the first one and Rey won the second one, but that isn't even what's important here. It was the ingenuity, it was the originality, and it's just how damn smooth these two wrestlers are. There was flip power bombs on the outside, reverse Hurricane Ranas, Canadian destroyers, and near falls so close it made you grow hair on your teeth, and I don't even know what that means. This was brilliant until we get to the finish, which I imagine did divide some people, but I quite got a little kick out of it because Samoa Joe popped up and was like, I told you what's going to happen in the Royal Rumble. I'm coming after all 29 people and it starts right now. And yeah, the match basically got called off because Samoa Joe beat the crap out of everyone. It's kind of how I want Joe to be treated on the main roster constantly. He doesn't care what you think, doesn't care what I think. He just wants to beat people up, and he'll do that whenever he sees fit. It wasn't anything for wrestlers just appearing from the ether though, because that is not how SmackDown went off air, because Randy Orton took up that spot. He gave Samoa Joe an RKO, the crowd went nuts, fade to black, Royal Rumble coming up. So yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get a proper winner, but if that means the feud between Andrade and Rey continues, and maybe we stretch out to WrestleMania and get some kind of mask versus hair match, well, who's going to argue with that? And if you are going to argue with it, I don't think you like wrestling, my friend. Also, Rey Mysterio. Round of applause for Rey Mysterio. How does he keep doing it? He's anomaly and absolutely one of the best wrestlers we've ever seen. There's not even a debate. Close the door, pull up the shutters, that's that. And as for SmackDown itself, it was a good episode. I liked it. Probably thought it got me more excited for the Rumble than Raw did. But either way, given that it is Wednesday and the Rumble is Sunday, I am one pumped, hopped up tamale. Royal Rumble time is here. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on YouTube, WhatCulture Wrestling. Never ever leave. And also, if you do want to tune into Raw and SmackDown live, do it. 2 p.m. GMT. I'll be there. You'll be there. We can have a hug virtually. My name is Simon Miller. This was WhatCulture Wrestling, and that's right. Set your clocks. Sunday it's the Royal Rumble, which means on Sunday morning we'll up those downs for NXT TakeOver, and then on Monday I'll be back for a big one, and that's up in those downs for that darn Royal Rumble. I'll see you then, or I'll never see you again. Don't let it be the latter.